Alright, so you may have experienced times with family and loved ones where disagreements seem to arise over different points of view. You may have been involved with work challenges where different perspectives just stifle any real progress. Of course, if you watch the news, you'll see numerous conflicts based on different points of view over race, culture, politics, nations, and religions. At a time when we really need to find ways to work together, to solve problems, both in our personal lives and for global challenges, for the environment, international conflicts, and humanitarian issues which ultimately affect us all. The thing is, our personal conflicts and global conflicts have the same root problem. And as we'll discover through this journey, even though we have differences, we have a profound common ground, which opens up a radically different approach to how we relate and collaborate to solve problems personally, professionally, and globally. But to get there, we really need to unravel what causes our differences in the first place and has us entirely missing that natural common ground. Well, ironically, one thing we have in common is that we simply see the world differently. This is no longer a philosophical statement. I mean, quite literally, physically, we see the world differently. So, we think we're peering out and seeing the same objective reality out here. But as neuroscience has been telling us, our experience is far more subjective, happening in the brain. So how is that? Well, first of all, we physically only pick up a slight bit of information from the world. The best way to experience this is through a classic exercise. So I really want you guys to try this out. Just hold up your thumb about an arm's length away. As you focus on your thumb, you'll notice that it's in full detail, but everything around is blurry. Well, the size of your thumb is about what you can physically see in full detail at any given time, against a blurry depth of field. And yet, everything seems to be in focus, and we have this 360-degree, high-resolution, panoramic experience. So, what's going on here? Welcome to the power of your brain processing. Whatever slight bit of information you pick up from the world has to be referenced with what you remember and learned to create the consistent experience you're having. Seeing is no longer described as just recording objective reality. We're literally seeing using our memories over just seeing the present moment. But it gets wilder, because as Dale Purvis, the former head of neurobiology at Duke University, mentions through his textbook, How We See What We Do, neurons in the brain actually direct the eyes on what to look out for. And there have been many studies showing how this works through our bias and what is called inattentional blindness, where you'll miss changes that happen right in front of you. But just for example, if you think a grocery store is expensive, then you'll notice all the expensive items and simply overlook reasonably priced items at the same store. Essentially, we see what we already know and believe. Now maybe you can see why two people can pick up totally different details and reference quite different memories to have a completely different experience of even the same room or situation. Just in order to see, we have to reference a library of knowledge and memories. In the 70s, Oliver Sacks, the legendary neurologist, illustrated through his book, Anthropologist on Mars, that we have to learn how to see the way we do. For example, just on a basic level, kids' toys and books teach color and shapes. We learn by labeling, defining, and categorizing. What is this shape compared to this shape? What category does this shape belong in? And by third grade, we've learned a library of labels and definitions. This is an apple. That is a tree. Hey, look at that bird. Now, of course, we need to learn how to see in order to navigate and communicate through the world. But all of this gets really hairy when we learn how to see ourselves and other people. When we're very young, we're told our name, race, nationality, and religion. Not only what you are, but what that means. What it means to be American. What it means to be African American, or Hispanic, Christian, or Jewish, Islamic, conservative, or liberal, and on and on. Actually, anytime we're trying to fit in, whether it be with family, social circles, or religious groups, we start to adopt the groupthink. We learn how to dress, what we can say, what we dare not express, and what we should say to impress. But we also learn what to think about others. And in this way, we start labeling and defining ourselves and other people. Through family, friends, and society, we inherit a world of thoughts, ideas, and beliefs like a hand-me-down reality. Now, how we see the world is filtered through these learned labels and definitions. And quite automatically, we look for people, media, and news channels that we agree with. We'll try to convince others that we're right and defend against or ridicule those that don't fit our views. Of course, we feel we're right and others are wrong or simply crazy. Or worse yet, we're the good guys and they're evil. But the funny thing is, everyone thinks they're right according to their perspective and rationale. Now, remember how our brain directs what we see? Well, likewise, we're actively looking to prove we're right and would simply overlook what would prove us wrong. Now, what are the implications of the way we learn to see? With people that we work with or relate with, even those very close to us, we're not dealing with how they actually are, but our labels and assessments of them, how we remember them, and what we think of them. Even labels that seem innocuous. That guy is arrogant. That girl is so shy. We wind up dealing with these people as we think they are. But it's in the very same way that we form labels and assessments of entire groups of people, simply based on what we've heard, learned, or some isolated experience. And this, my friends, is the root of our personal bias and prejudice wherever it arises. We are literally segregating ourselves into boxes and labels. On a national and global level, people are ready to build walls, kill and die, even take their own lives for a label, a category of who they think they are and what they've heard about others. We're in the state where we value labels over a living, breathing, pulsing life in front of us. And yet, our label for an apple is not an apple. Our ideas about that person next to us is not that person. Our ideas about ourselves does not do justice to our absolutely unique experience of life. By learning what we are and how to think, we actually lose our natural ability to simply observe, discover for ourselves what we are, who others actually are, and our relationship to the world. The way we think informs what we see and our actions. But it was Einstein who said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. A new way of thinking starts by pausing what we already feel to be true. For example, my dad has written, if we're so caught up in differences, we cannot even see what is common among us. Now, we may have learned and believe that we are isolated individuals trying to fend for ourselves. We need to find a pack to fit in and survive. But if we're ready to honestly look and simply observe, there is nothing natural in the world that suggests we are separate beings. Just think about it. It took two people to create you and a society to raise you. It takes teachers, nurses, doctors, farmers, janitors, construction workers, and factory workers halfway around the world to make sure you're educated, healthy, have food and clothes on your back. And now we're in an era of globalization where different cultures are coming face to face, needing to work together. And we're all trying to survive on the same home planet, an environment that works in sync without regard to man-made borders. See, behind our colorful labels of diversity, we are more intimately connected than we have imagined. Isn't it about time we started living as such? Look, we're all having a totally unique experience here, but the main thing to realize is that we're not simply contending with an objective reality out there. Our experience is based more on what we selectively see, based on what we've learned, on ideas in our mind. Could it be that our labels and divisions are simply learned ideas? But if we're not holding so tightly to these ideas, then just like any thoughts, they are completely free to change and evolve. Understand that our ideas of another person, even those close to us and very familiar, does not explain the full spectrum of their experience and background. If you really want to understand people, you have to dive a little deeper than your labels and see, where are they coming from? What informs their thinking and actions? And if they have a different point of view, it doesn't mean they're challenging reality or us personally. It is simply their perspective. And here, my friends, is the key: not taking perspectives so literally or personally, either from others or even our own. Remember that underlying any of our different perspectives, we are naturally interconnected. If we can ground ourselves in our similarities and connectedness, then it opens up a whole new approach to our relationships and collaboration. Then our different perspectives actually become assets. If the intention is to work together, then we can share different ideas, share the different details we may notice, share different expertise to solve some of our toughest challenges. But I'll tell you, you can't count on others to break down their shells or change their paradigms. It begins with your clarity and understanding. It is up to you to break the ice and open the lines of communication. It begins with loosening what you already know and becoming curious again, because you never know what you may learn and discover from different perspectives. So, get curious about all these unique experiences, and perspectives happening all around you. Get curious again about the people you think you already know. Get curious about the interconnected nature of life beaming to be discovered, and find those points of connection that will bridge our divides. Hey, if you like the talk, please share it, as it may just resonate with others as well.